maybe your biggest issue is taking marketing terms and converting them into something that you understand. Hi, guys. It's Lucy of ShineSparkL Marketing Education for Photographers, and today I'm here to demystify some of the terminology around marketing with the series ABCs of Marketing. And before we start, I will also encourage you to go to the description of this video and download my guide, the 5 missteps that photographers make that attract price shoppers, drain their passion, profits, and joy. And we don't want to be drained of those things. We want to be uplifted with all of those things. So go and find that. And in the meantime, you can also check out the other videos if this is the first one that you are um, finding. As today we are doing the letters G and H, and I've done 2 letters in each video in the previous videos. So you can go find those in the media section of the Facebook group, or if you're seeing this video elsewhere, you can join the ShineSparkL Marketing Education group and get access to the videos and other wonderful content, I hope. Okay, so today I am going to be looking at giveaways. No, sorry, not giveaways. I talked about freebies and discounts in the last video, and giveaways was my original letter G, but because they're so similar, go and watch that content on free and discounts, which are all kind of grouped in. Giveaways are the same kind of thing. The G today is guarantees. And I think the concept of a guarantee strikes fear in the photographer heart. And I'm here to talk about it a little bit and demystify it. I've written a couple of blog posts, I believe 2, on the subject. So you can go find those at the ShineSparkleMarketing.com. And under the blog posts, you can find it and you can search for a keyword. But I'm going to talk about guarantees here today as well, because as I said, they strike fear in the heart of photographers that everybody is going to ask for their money back. And when we're on Facebook groups and chatting with other photographers, it's pretty common that we hear about all the horror stories, right? The bad clients, clients asking for refunds, sepia bride, many of these negative interactions that photographers are having with clients. And the truth is that not every transaction is a bad one, but when you hear about the bad ones, it makes us feel like there's a lot of them. And so when we think of the concept of a guarantee, we are fearful that the person, because they're offered a guarantee, they're going to take it and they're going to take us to the cleaners, and we're going to have to refund every single session we ever do, and we're going to go out of business. Well, yeah, and I understand the fear. But we also need to understand how powerful a guarantee can be to bring people into our business. So if you're struggling to book, a guarantee can be a very, very powerful tool. And the reason why is because a guarantee removes the risk from the buyer and puts it on to the seller. And that is an assurance that that they can go ahead risk-free. So when we think about how people buy and why they buy, and the difficulties in buying, if somebody's going to make a big purchase like a car or a house or a vacation, something like that, they want assurances along the way that their investment is going to be taken care of, that they're not going to just lose all their money or spend money for a terrible experience. There's a lot of unknown when you go into big ticket purchase items. And photography could be one of those, hopefully, because your pricing is healthy and appropriate. But people want assurances. You as a consumer, have you never wanted an assurance? Of course you have. You want to be assured that your money is going to be well spent. And a guarantee will take that risk away. It assures you that your money is going to be well spent, or they will give you your money back. Now, as a consumer, I'm sure you appreciate that, right? Like Amazon has a pretty good return policy. Costco has a great return policy. Those are products, not services, but there's a lot of services out there as well that they will guarantee something. Guaranteed this will work for you or your money back, right? and I have a money back guarantee in ShineSparkL for all of my products. And what a guarantee does is, by removing the risk, it brings people closer to your business and into booking. And the reality is that guarantees have been around forever, for a very, very long time. If they didn't work, if people were to be going out of business after offering a guarantee, they would no longer be around. That is the reality of it. It would have fizzled out as a tactic where people tried it and failed, and be like, don't ever do this, because you'll go out of business fast. But that is not the case. It is absolutely not the case. And the reason why is because it has a psychological aspect to it. So the risk removal is a big thing. Um, Hold on. Yeah, so the risk removal is a big thing. But the other thing is that it, gosh, where is it? I'm live. Yes, so it entices people because that risk is removed and they feel they have nothing to lose. They are much more likely to book, and you have a lot more people flocking to you because of that guarantee. So if you have a guarantee on your photography and somebody else doesn't, what do you think that's going to do in terms of their decision making of who to go with? If they feel like, well, what if something happens and I'm not happy, and but the other person is saying that they'll do, whatever it takes to make me happy, so I will feel more assured going with that person. And so it can absolutely increase the number of bookings. And yes, there are people who ask for refunds. There are people who would call in your guarantee. But time and time again, all the experts that have spoken on guarantees will tell you that the amount of people uh, that you encourage to book far exceed the amount of people that would ask for their money back. So the equation is always in your favor, essentially. And if that weren't the case, like I said, guarantees would have fallen away a long time ago. Now, I hear all of you saying, well, I've put in the work, I deserve to get paid. I can't guarantee something like photography, it's so subjective and personal and that kind of thing. Well, there's no one size fits all guarantee. You can guarantee a variety of things, you can position it a variety of ways, but some sort of guarantee will be in place. Now, one of the things that I will ask is, if driven to it, would you give a refund when something just goes very wrong in a transaction? If you answer that honestly and say that in the end, if somebody complained enough, if they were annoying enough, whatever it is, you would just give their money back and you would clean your hands of it. If you have ever considered a refund or a reshoot or anything like that, then that means that you have a guarantee already. But as they say, you have the liability of a guarantee without actually using the guarantee as leverage. Because in the end, like I said, I wrote a blog post saying, you have a hidden guarantee, but in order to leverage it, you want to make sure that it gets out there in your marketing if you're ever going to come to the place where you might refund somebody. And that does happen once in a while. So there's a book that I have read time and time again. I love it. It's called Piranha Marketing. It's back from the 90s, I think, so it's a little bit older. But what they say about guarantees, they have a whole section on it. They say, don't just advertise a guarantee because it's an effective way to take away the risk. Do it because it's the right thing to do. So the question that they pose is, would you want to sell something that you can't guarantee? It goes back to the quality of your product and the confidence that you have in your own product. If you are confident that you can perform for a client, then I don't know that you would ever want anybody walking away unhappy, because our art matters to us. And it matters so much to us that we sometimes even hate to charge and charge extremely low prices. But when it comes to a guarantee, why wouldn't we guarantee it then? If we're willing to have an extremely low price or discount or give freebies or give away our services, why wouldn't we entertain a guarantee then? I mean, the amount of money you might be losing through enticing people through deep discounts might be equivalent to a one person out of 10 or 20 or 100 people who might call in a refund. Wouldn't it be better just to move ahead and book people who will be assured by your guarantee and maybe lose money and maybe not, likely not, then it's a better opportunity than deeply discounting your sessions each single time and making like $0 to begin with. So if you look at the greater scheme of things, you have to balance out how you see a guarantee or the potential calling in of a guarantee versus all the other things you might be doing to sabotage your income. A guarantee doesn't represent a discount. And for example, what if nobody called in a refund, the guarantee, right? Whereas discounting, you're doing something upfront and you're already losing money going into the transaction versus the potential or, the the situation that may never happen. Wouldn't that be better? That you only would refund if you absolutely had to, but you're refunding yourself essentially by a discount at the beginning. So think about that a little bit. There's a psychology there that I may have triggered in you where it might be worthwhile to consider a guarantee. And as I said, would you want to guarantee something uh, that you can't do? Like obviously, if you can do it, you should be confident enough in your work to be able to do that. And that is regardless of um, the feelings that we should be paid for our work. And it's kind of funny too, because as soon as somebody asks for a refund, you're like, well, I should be paid for my work. But a lot of times we sabotage our pricing up front, which makes kind of no sense to me. It's a real sort of psychological spiral that we find ourselves in. So um, I personally guarantee my work, and because I'm confident that years under my belt, I'm a good photographer. And I have no problem offering a guarantee because um, the likelihood of somebody calling that in is very, very low because I'm confident in my work and I can produce good work for them. So let me just see. Yeah. So Piranha Marketing makes a suggestion that you create a guarantee and you offer it to your next 10 clients in your sales pitch. So as part of like your consultation email or something like that, you say, if you're not happy for any reason, I will X or Y, right? So there could be reshooting, there could be a refund of portion or of all services. It depends on what you want to do. It could be just a refund on prints or a redo of prints. So there's a variety of ways to offer a guarantee. You can leverage it in small ways. So you can say, well, the service, a session fee might not be refundable because it's time that you're paying for, so the time has been taken. But it could be that you would do a reshoot of that time, for example, or you would not put it on session and digital products because once delivered, they're downloaded. You can say that it's on print. You have a full 100% guarantee that the prints will be perfect, or you do them again, something like that. So there is a variety of ways that you can position a guarantee, and you don't have to risk the whole farm if you don't want to, but try in one area, such as like prints or such as a redo of sessions. And I have that all written in what I call my Statement of Excellence, which is a document that I've put together on a web page. And I go through the things that are important to me, like the benefits of my service to my client, my education, my backup systems, my gear, and what that helps with that with on the client side, meaning, as we talked about in the video with B, benefits, talk about the protection of their images, being able to produce high quality images, constantly investing in my education. And part of that is I have a client satisfaction guarantee, and I will mine's kind of vague. I say something like, I will do whatever I can to help create a positive situation. I won't say exactly what I'm going to do, which you can do it that way too. Just they know that you will stick with them to make it right. And that's kind of important. That's that reassurance and that's that trust. So in my ShineSparkL business, I produce guides and they are downloadable. And I have a full money back guarantee. And the reason why is because I'm confident in my content as well. I have been told time and time again since I started this in 2018 that my information is solid, it's down to earth, it's easy to digest, and people find help from it. And so I am confident in offering a money back guarantee because you know what? I don't want you to feel like you wasted your money or I didn't value or honor your money. So as a person offering this business, I wouldn't feel good about it. And so that's why I'm a huge proponent of the guarantee. Now, I've sold guides and a variety of products, like web reviews, through my website since 2018. So that's 6 years. And in all those years, one person called in that guarantee. And I think it was a guide that was about $20. It was a very inexpensive guide. And she wrote me an email back asking for the refund. And I asked, may I ask why? Uh, you would like to, like let me know where I can improve, kind of thing. And she told me, well, I could have discovered this information on the internet myself. And that was a key point for me because in actuality, that client feedback helped me to grow. So first off, 20 bucks, not a big deal. I will refund it, no questions asked. Really didn't want to, try to save her or anything like that. I'm not the, like the some people will transfer you to the client retention people, but I didn't. I just no questions asked. I just gave her back her money, and I also learned that she didn't value it because she said that the information was available for her taking on the internet, and what that meant for me is that, yeah, like for 20 bucks, maybe you would fast track yourself to save you all the time that it would have taken to put all this information together for free. So you could have eventually stumbled on it, searched for it, but it would take you time to decide that you're going to look at these topics, to search for them, to find valuable information, sift through information that's not helpful to you. And so what it showed to me is that she didn't value the fact that a person put it all together for her in a meaningful short document. And so she would have preferred to spend more than $20 of her time to go and search for that information. Um, Anyhow, what it did teach me is that now on all my products, I put in a section of who it's for and who it's not for. And that was a result of her feedback. So when I say who it's not for, I said it's not for DIYers who want to spend, a few hours on the internet doing their searches and putting the information together themselves. Fair enough if you don't want to do that. The other value that I put on, it's for people who don't want to spend hours on the internet, have somebody who has marketing experience putting the information together and adding the context to it. So adding their level of experience, which you wouldn't get from the internet, from a bunch of different sources where there's not one person sort of helping you interpret the information. So that was a missing piece that she didn't get from this document. So, I can look at it again when I get something like that and say, well, am I adding enough of my own opinion and value into this document, or is it just whatever, picking from the internet, which it's not because it comes from my data bank. Um, but it is searchable on the internet if you tried, but it didn't have, the added ingredient of me interpreting that information. But anyhow, one refund of $20 in the last 6 years. So my business has not gone under because I have offered guarantees, and it's a powerful way to show people that they can be, they can rest assured and be comfortable investing with me because if for any reason they're not happy, I will give them their money back. And so you can do that with any other business. It just might be that you have to think about that a little bit. But I have done reshoots before. I have not had to give any refunds in my photography business, and I have run that for over a decade. So it just goes to show that it's our biggest fear. But if you think about the other things that you do that are taking money away from you on the front end, maybe you should give this a go. So as Prana Marketing says, try it with your next 10 clients where you add it into your pitch about a satisfaction guarantee of some sort and see if that doesn't book you the business. And, take it from there. So the next one, oh yeah, I just, no. Yeah, okay. We're gonna go into the letter H. So the letter H is going to stand for hierarchy of effects. And that's a bit of a mouthful, maybe, but it will make sense once we talk it through. The hierarchy of events, it relates to a theory that was put forth by two researchers in 1961. So it's a rather old concept. A lot of marketing concepts are old and are just evolved from their beginnings based on how the markets have shifted over the decades. But the hierarchy of effects is about how advertising affects consumer buying behavior and how it moves them through the phases of buying. And when you look back at these videos, and I have concepts of discovery, attention, call to action, um, those all relate to these kind of phases or hierarchy of effects. So as I kind of summarized in my last email, in my last video, sorry, is that D is for discovery. People need to come across you in order to know that you exist. Then you need to grab their attention with something engaging or valuable, and then you give them a call to action to move them into the next step. So that's a hierarchy, or a process. And what the hierarchy of events did is it kind of put scientific sort of measurement and information into the advertising process so that people in advertising can create campaigns that move people through these phases. And it has a basis in cognitive psychology, which is like a behavioral psychology, where we examine what moves people to make the decisions that they do. And so it has like a lot of roots in that psychology. And selling has, it's all psychology pretty much, except for the exchange of the actual money at the end. It's all psychology. It all happens in our minds and it happens in the buyer's minds. And so when you have insight into this process, you can design your campaigns towards this type of hierarchy and move people through in the way that their psychology works, which means it has a higher likelihood of working to book you. So it follows sort of the cognitive psychology approach of thinking, feeling, and doing. So first you think about something, then you feel a certain way about something, and then you end up doing it, right? So think of any decision you have made, and particularly as it relates maybe to buying a product or a service. You have first had to think about it. You're like, well, I need a plumber, I need a photographer, I need a hairstylist, and you have to think about it first, right? And then you go through a feeling, so you're researching who's out there for whatever it is that you need, and you start to get feelings associated with them based on how they present themselves. So you're like, well, I don't love plumber A because his website is not very good and I can't find any information about his credentials or something like that, for how effective he will be at whatever it is, the leak in my sink. And so you start to go through that process of gauging your feelings of resonating with one service provider over another. And for us in photography speak, that's our brand. It's the energy behind our business. And so people get a sense of that energy and start feeling a certain way about a certain person or product. And then there's the doing part where they say, okay, I have thought about it and I have done the research and I have narrowed it down to these final choices because I like them. It seems like they'll do a good job for me, and boom, they make the decision to buy. And the theory is actually 5 steps, and the 5 steps are awareness, liking, preference, conviction, and purchase. So awareness is that whole thinking part, and the liking and the preference is the whole feeling part and the whole brand part. So they start to like you. They like your story over somebody else's story. They like the vibe of your photography. They like the vibe of your website. And they start to develop a preference for you over another photographer, let's say. And then the conviction is the trigger where they finally have to go into a state of action, because you can't just sit in paralysis analysis forever, and they have to make a decision to buy. And that's when people reach out and say, yes, I'm going to buy your service. And then there's purchase. So if we go back to the 3 cognitive psychology buckets if we go to thinking, feeling, and doing, so you can follow the 5 steps if you want. You can also just look at the concept of the thinking, feeling, doing to help you create your ad campaigns and your content, your copy for when you're actually advertising an offer or a special or something like that. So what I have found is that photographers leave the feeling portion to their photos. So we want to evoke emotion in our photos. We want to create a sense of nostalgia, of creating memories, capturing memories, all the, call keywords that we use to attract people. And so there's a whole lot of feeling that we um, try to imbue our photos with, but we're not using that same concept in our advertising. So that's a big missing piece. So I would say that we go from thinking to doing, and we just miss out on the whole middle part, right? And so the thinking part is, well, you've put together an ad for, let's say, minis. That's an easy, low hanging fruit one to always call upon. And you put together the ad with time price files, which is that horrible trifecta. And then you put it out there for people to do something, which is to book. So you're doing the thinking part of it, you're putting it out there for them to find, and then you expect a doing, which is a booking. And so we're eliminating that whole feeling part in the middle where the ad is compelling people through that liking, preference, and conviction parts of the hierarchy of effects. So um, when we're missing it, it means that there's really no emotion being triggered by the ad. So if you look at your ad, you might have a photo. Yes, that's a little bit of feeling right there, but it's usually not enough. Sometimes you do collages of images and they're too small and people can't get a sense of feeling. Or you're posting a set which doesn't have any people in it, which also is difficult to have that feeling in it. But for the most part, we're only using our photograph to do that, but we're not using any compelling copy to really drive the point home. So um, for an example, why would somebody want these minis? What emotional triggers, what benefits would it have to them? And allow them to have that trust building, that preference building for you. So next time you go into your ad campaign mode, think about the thinking, feeling, doing aspect of it. And let that help you sort of incubate on ideas for adding that feeling component, not just through the photography, but through the other elements of copy, of graphic design, of fonts and colors that are similar to your brand, to really evoke the energy of your brand in the design of the flyer, and then also in the content of how you're triggering people's feelings to like you and prefer you in order to get that trigger of conversion. Um, so there are some criticisms of this advertising model that humans are far too complex to fit into like a 5-step system, that buying behavior is really complicated and affected by a lot of factors. That's true, but if we drill it down to these bones of thinking, feeling, doing, I think it could be rather helpful, because otherwise we're sitting in our ads and we don't know quite what to do, or we're looking around and seeing everybody else advertise time price files, so we do the same thing. Instead, let this be your guide to approach anything that you're doing in terms of creating an offer for your clients. And this could be low end like minis, or it could be high end boudoir photography, it could be pet photography, it could be weddings. So think about how people are making that buying decision, where they're thinking about the thing that they want, and then allowing them to feel something with the advertisements that you're putting out, and see if that makes a difference in how you approach your ads, and maybe then try to measure how those ads are doing after you've taken this approach, and that could give you more feedback as to how successful this new way of creating advertising is doing for you. Okay, so That is today's content. I hope you got some helpful information out of it. I know guarantees are still maybe a sore spot or a pain point for a lot of you that you don't agree. If you'd like, leave a comment underneath. We're a free community here. I would like everybody to be able to express their opinion on guarantees. And if you have any other questions about guarantees or the hierarchy of effects, you could put it down into the comments. And again, don't forget to download your free guide, The 5 Missteps to that photographers make to attract price shoppers and drain your passion, profits, and joy. It is linked in the description. And I will see you tomorrow with the next 2 letters. Okay, guys, take care. Bye, Shine Sparklers.